Natalie, and welcome to PEP, the Palomares Empowerment Program. Since we have some new faces, and probably the next few weeks, maybe this whole semester, we'll still keep having new faces as more people hear about the program and become interested. So for the sake of everyone, we'll go over what this program is all about to give an introduction, and so for those of you who are new, can also get a little bit of a sense of what we're working towards here. So I'm a coordinator for this empowerment program, along with Eddie, Susan, Valerie, who's behind the camera, and Kavon, who just walked outside. So all of us are either in college or college graduates, and we're here as volunteers to help and be a family, be a community with you as the students, because we see the importance of growing and developing our strengths, becoming better people, and helping others. So that's one of the core values that we all have here. Some of the things that this program is about, the main one is service. So service comes in many different forms in helping others. So service is you doing something because you're thinking of other people before thinking of yourself. That's one way of it. So you could do that in school. You could do that in the future when you have jobs. In every aspect of your life. To your families, you need to do a lot of that. So it's a way of life. We're here to discover our strengths so that we can develop them, so that you can have something to offer, a really strong skill, so that if you want to help others, you have something to give, so that you can become role models and leaders. And one of the main things that we're working on this semester is our power of expression. So the ability to use our voices and our actions so that we can inspire and so that we can impact others. So we'll be going over a little bit about what we did last week with Susan's help, so that you can kind of get an idea of the things that we've been doing to work on that. So go ahead, Susan.
So one way we look at how much you guys are growing and track your progress throughout the program is by you guys writing your journals. I'd like to ask Amore if she'd like to share her journal from last week, and then pay attention to what she says, and while you're listening to what she's saying, maybe think about your own reflections about last week and what we did and how you felt, and then we'll kind of discuss more about it. So Amore?
I learned that courage is very important in life. Courage comes from power and meaning. You must be loud even if you're stepping out of your comfort zone.
Very good.
Nice.
Yeah. Good job, Amore. And Amore brings up a good point. So in order to use our voices and be loud and make these changes in the world, we need to step out of our comfort zone, right? And a lot of the times that's scary. And that takes a lot of courage to step out of our comfort zones. So reflecting on what Amore just said, and maybe some of your own reflections about last week, does anyone want to share what we did last week, first of all? Elsa?
We did an activity where they would ask us a question and we would answer, and our partner would have to repeat it, but each time or each level we'd have to take a step forward, and we'd have to try and repeat what each other said.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, you guys got into pairs, and we had 5 questions for you guys to answer, and then there's kind of a projection game, right? Using our voices and being loud, like Amore said, so we could hear each other and understand each other. So how did that feel for you guys? Did you guys like that? Did you have trouble with it? Did you step out of your comfort zone?
I liked it because I was seeing everyone have to like step out of their comfort zone and like just do their best to project their voice, and it was like really good because I saw Narita's like speaking really good, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her because she's really shy usually.
Feels really good. So not only were you able to improve upon yourself, right, and step out of your own comfort zone, but you're able to support each other and see each other growing and kind of encourage each other as well. That's really important.
Awesome. Does anyone remember anything else that we did last week?
We sang a song and like we would just throw out words and like we just flow with it.
Yeah. So our song last week is a little different than what we normally do. It was like a call and repeat song, right? And we kind of fill in the blank. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, music is one of the big parts of what we do here. We incorporate it into our learning, and we'll get to do more of that today. So you'll get to experience for yourself what we mean by that. Remember a story from last week? Who would like to go? Ryan?
It's about the frog, where there's two frogs, the gloomy one and the other one that was courageous. And he didn't stop, and he didn't give up by when they fell in the cream. So they swam around and made butter. And then the courageous one, the courageous frog, made it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like kind of a silly story, but there's a lot of that we could learn from it too and apply it to our lives. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Yeah. And so we practice different ways of telling stories, and I think maybe right now would be a good time to turn it over to Valerie and Kavon, who have prepared for today and using the story again.
Mm-hmm. When we listen to understand something, we learn the least amount. Least effective way of learning is just listening. But when we listen and then we try to say it back, or even try to, let's say, listen to a story and you try to tell the story to someone else, then there's a different kind of learning takes place. It goes much deeper. Now you become the teacher. Now you become the storyteller. And a different part of the brain becomes active. This is very, very clear when we learn languages. Like people, when they go to another country, if they listen to the language, they become familiar with it. But if they only listen, they would never be able to speak, because the part of the brain that speaks, the part of the brain that learns just to listen are different. So for a language, it's important that we speak it. And for anything we learn, it's just not enough for us just to listen to the teacher, but to be able to produce it. Well, that's why we are asking you, what do you remember from last week? Because knowing that you're going to be telling us next week what you remember, it makes your brain to be much more sharper. It's like a knife that becomes dull if you don't use it. That's one of the wonderful different things about the brain. The more you use it, what happens? Sharper and more powerful it gets. But you don't take a chance to speak up, to smile, to be active. This wonderful gentleman walked in, and the first thing he says, "What can I do to help?" That means his muscles of serving, of speaking up, of leading is going to be stronger and stronger, because he's like an athlete, you know? If you have a hand like this, and if you keep it always by your side, what happens to it? It goes very, very weak. After a while, you can't even lift it. But if your hand constantly, you're using it, you wash dishes, you clean the windows, you lift something, you shovel, you do everything, anything that you can do, what happens to your hand? Exactly. And this whole empowerment program we have is about making every single part of you, your brain, your heart, your soul, your speech, all your powers to become hundredfold and arise to its own capacity that you don't even know how strong it can be. Because each one of you is like a mine. You know what's a mine? A mine is somewhere that has a lot of gems in it. Lots of gems. Not even you know how many gems you have in it. So we are here to bring those gems out, polish them, and make them shine. So that's why speaking up, right? That's why it's important that you speak loud, speak with power. Like if I would be speaking out, well, we have your here. Would you like it? Would you hear it? Would you like it when I'm speaking it very loud, very clear, you know? It has a lot more power. So I want you to eliminate. So Valerie is going to tell you what we have in mind for you about the story, because last week you just heard the story, right? Now, if somebody asked you to tell them the story, you might not remember all of it. But if you tell it to somebody else, guess what?
They're gonna know it quicker.
Say it again.
They're gonna know it quicker.
Yes, quicker and much better. And then you own that information will become really, really strongly present in your mind. You can pull it out anytime you want. So Valerie has got a plan to activate that part of your memory and brain that the story is going to become really, really yours. So are you ready? Valerie, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's see what you got to say.
Okay, so we will get into pairs, and we will decide what pairs you guys get into. And in those pairs, you will practice telling each other the story, and then we will get in front of each other and tell the story to the whole.
How about we select who goes with who?
Mm-hmm.
So we will pair them.
Yes.
So we will pair randomly, so you're going to be surprised by your partner. So this is for empowering you to understand that you're each like a flower in a garden. And all the flowers in the garden, they make the garden beautiful. So this is about working together, learning oneness, learning harmony, learning cooperation, and so appreciating every one of each other for the qualities that we have. Each one of you have many, 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 many special qualities. So no one is higher, no one is lower, right? So when you pair with someone, you have to show them how happy you are to be paired, whoever it is. This way you show appreciation, you show that you really see each other for the gifts that the other person has. Because you guys all come with many gifts, okay? Don't you agree?
Right, I agree.
Yes. So we want to bring those gifts out. So you got to show that you're delighted. So if I become Amore's partner, I say, I'm so glad to be your partner. Let's figure out how we're going to do this story, how put it out, and make it shine like the best story in the whole world. How's that? Okay. So Valerie, so we're going to be paired, and then what do you do?
And then we will work on the story the same way that Natalie and I told the story.
And how many minutes do we have time to do that?
Well, we only have 5 minutes.
So that means that you have to be fast. Okay.
And then, so you only have 5 minutes to plan and discuss and read over the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will present it, and we'll share our stories with each other.
So one way they can choose to do the story is like how you did it with Natalie last week. Like you were the drama person and Natalie was the narrator. That was one. How many of you were here last week and you saw that? How many of you thought that was a very interesting way of telling a story? Ryan, what about you? Do you think that was interesting? Okay. Do you think she was wild when she was acting like a frog?
I reenacted it for Kavon.
This is a time to be wild when you're doing something like that, because this is what acting is all about. Acting brings you out of your own shell. That's where you come out of your comfort zone. Here, everybody loves you anyway, so don't worry about making mistakes. Don't even think about that. So you can learn about your powers. Otherwise, always will be hidden from you. Okay, so 5 minutes for them to take a look at this. They already know the story, right? And decide between themselves how they're going to tell the story. One way would be the way you did it.
Yeah.
But there could be other ways that you can do this story that we have no idea about, and you guys can be creative about it.
Yeah, especially for the people who are new today.
Okay, then come up with a way that you think. Yes.
I just had a suggestion, if you can tell me what you think of maybe pairing someone who was here last week and already heard it with someone new.
I think that's a very good suggestion. And that way then we bring two strengths together. One, the strength is someone who hasn't been here, then they be creative, and then the other one is who has been here and they already have a preconceived idea.
Yeah.
So it would be nice consult. So they have 5 minutes to consult, to decide, and be ready. And then we will give each person how much time to perform?
We only have 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That's a lot actually for that story. So,
Like a paragraph.
okay. Anything that we didn't explain?
No. Okay. So Giselle and Alyssa can be together. And Amore,
You're late today. You'll have to be the observer. You didn't get to participate in doing this, but make sure to support them in their performances and see what you like about the stories, okay? And give a lot of feedback.
Okay.
Ready to start?
Yeah. With the scream. Ah! 2 frogs fell into a deep bowl of cream. The first was a persistent kind of soul, but the other took a gloomy / emo, your modern emo right here. We'll drown. Oh. We'll drown, he lamented. Dun, 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 dun. And with a despairing cry, he flung up his legs and said, "Goodbye." Dun, 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 said the first frog with a determined grin. I can't get out, but I won't give in. I'll swim around till my strength is spent. Then if I must, I'll die content. Bravely, he swam to work his scream, and his struggles began to churn the cream. The more he swam, his legs aflutter, the more the cream turned into butter. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. On top of the butter, at last he stopped, and out of the bowl he gaily hopped. Hallelujah! Okay, that's it.
Good job. So what was so special? What was some of the things you noticed that was a strength of their presentation? What? Huh?
Good teamwork.
Good teamwork. Very good. Okay, good teamwork. What else did you notice that made it a pleasant thing to hear and listen?
More confident.
Okay, very good. They were very confident. They spoke, with good voice and laughed. Okay, very good. What else? What else did you notice that made it a good presentation?
I liked how they used like their own little sound effects to
Okay.
enhance the story.
Okay, making being creative. How about having a sense of humor about the fact that they were not, they didn't have only a few minutes to rehearse, so they was not a perfect, but they had a good sense of humor about it. Right? So let's give them another hand. Okay.
With a scream, 2 frogs fell into a deep bowl of cream. The first was a persistent kind of soul, but the other took the gloomy role. We'll drown, he lamented. With a despairing cry, he flung up his legs and said goodbye. Said the first frog with a determined grin, I can't get out, but I won't give in. I'll swim around till my strength is spent, then if I must, I'll die content. Bravely he swam to work his scheme, and his struggles began to churn the cream. The more he swam, his legs aflutter, the more the cream turned into butter. On top of the butter, at last he stopped, and out of the bowl he gaily hopped.
So what was the strength that you noticed about this presentation? What were some of the things that you thought, that was very good? Yeah?
They stepped out of their comfort zone
Mm-hmm. By doing what?
by presenting and also by volunteering. That was really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very much so. How about going around and hopping up and down and stuff like that? What else did you guys notice?
One of the things I noticed is that Amore's voice was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear really every word she said. So I'm pretty sure even if I had never heard that before, I would have understood it.
Yes. And she was very articulate.
Yeah, articulate.
Every word came out just right. It's good. So that means we're getting better and better in our power of speech, in our power of expression, which is very important. Okay, what else?
I have another one.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed that when Alberto was the gloomy frog, I actually felt sad for the frog because he was so sad. And so his expression with it, and even in his eyes, the way he showed it, it connected it more with emotion, which all the other times I've even read or heard that story, I didn't feel sad for the gloomy frog. So that was the first time I felt sad for it.
Which is an art. That means how do we really trigger an emotion in another person? And there is a science to it. So it has something to do with the way he carried his own face and features, which is great. Ryan, what did you like about this presentation?
That they made it look kind of fun.
That's right. Exactly. So we're creative about that. Okay. Good one, yeah.
With ice cream. Two frogs fell into a deep bowl of cream. The first one was kind of soft. But the other took the gloomy role. When down, he limited with a despairing cry.
Goodbye, world.
He flapped up his legs and said, "Goodbye."
Goodbye.
Said the first frog with extension green. I can't get out, but I won't give in. I'll swim around to my straight. Then, if I must, the queen. The more he swam, his legs flatter. The more the queen turned into butter. On the top of the butter, at last he stopped, and out the bowl he gaily hopped.
Okay, wonderful. So what do you guys found to be really praiseworthy in their cooperation and in their performance? There's an art of being able to see positive qualities in others, and we have to look for them. Most people most people spend their time looking for flaws in others, and sometimes in themselves, and that weakens us. But when we look for positive qualities and attributes in others, everybody together becomes stronger. So what did you notice? Yes, Alyssa?
That they tried.
They did yes, they really gave it a lot of good effort. Yes. What else?
They put their all into it.
They really did, yes. What else did you see that was very special?
I saw that Nelela asking for help with some of the words.
From each other?
They were asking, helping each other. So,
Yes.
Even though there was a struggle, still asking for help and being open for that.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
The collaboration and cooperation between anytime she had trouble finding a word or whatever, she asked, and then Ryan comes and helps. And that's wonderful friendship. That's really what this whole thing is all about. It's not about competition, it's about helping each other, friendship. Am I right? It was wonderful spirit to see that. What else did you guys notice that was praiseworthy? Yes? By the way, you can participate, tell us too.
Okay, I'll say one more. I also noticed that when I could tell that they were really stepping out of their comfort zone, especially with Ryan laying on the ground, and with Nelena, I know that from knowing you from last week, that's something that you're still really working on, of speaking out loud in front of people. So I really saw her pushing herself, and I was really proud. And then I also saw how everyone else who was here, when I was looking around, and they're kind of come on,
holding
you can do
them.
it, you can do it. It was a hopeful, trying to support from sitting here.
The loving, supporting.
Yeah, it wasn't a criticizing or anything like that.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah.
That's very true. Everybody was rooting for them. Oh,
Yes.
let's. Any other comments? Any other things you noticed?
I noticed that they were trying to break out of their comfort zone, like that little shell. So that's good.
It is wonderful because you think that there is nowhere in your education, no place in your education, there is an opportunity to work on these parts of the learning. And this is so important for anything you do, at your work, at your family, with your children, with yourself. These powers need to come out. And so now you remember how difficult this was. In a year or so, you'll see yourself completely in a different place. Because we all started there, all of us. And that's where we are. Look at the places. So, congratulations. So that's all the groups that we had, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give it
We always have snacks that we have really great volunteers to offer to bring the snacks and to also serve them. We already have some. Maria and Alyssa, you both can do that today. I don't know if Shore, if you can help them with with serving it. And so you'll get a taste of the kind of snacks that you'll get to try. So you can go over there. And then while they do that, so we'll do a little bit of multitasking. And me and Eddie are going to explain the next project that we're going to do today, and what it has to do, what it's about, and what it has to do with what we're learning and with this program.
So first let me go on, and because today we're going to be doing an activity with drums. And I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed, I've always been working on this drum. We call it, this name for this drum is called El Cajon, which means box if you know Spanish. And so something that you guys need to understand is how this drum creates its sound. Your palm, or your knuckle, or say your, all one of those are different sounds. So the way this creates that sound, first it's a box shape, and when you put pressure against this top part, what you're actually hearing is air molecules breaking. So what's the way sound is defined is actually changes in atmospheric pressure. Not to get too scientific with you guys, but sound basically, when you hit it on this side, there's all these little energy molecules, air molecules buzzing around, moving around in here, and they're escaping through this little hole on this end. So all the sound is actually coming through this hole.
So Eddie, what would happen if that hole was covered?
It's not as loud as it was before.
It's trapped. The sound is trapped
Now
inside.
this instrument was a way for people going through a struggle, going through tough times in this world, how they were able to use this very instrument as their way to find their courage, find unity, and ultimately find protection through this instrument right here, the cajon.
So yeah, so like we talked about last week with instruments, music is another way that we express ourselves and that we can show those emotions, like how Kavon was saying today when Alberto did his presentation, that there's an art to showing emotions and there's different sounds, how loud it is, how quiet it is, and the melody to it, like how you did the sound effects, that gave emotion too. So through music, we can express ourselves and we can be like this drum, right, that we can play really loud and can be heard, you know, even in some parts of the world, music is sent to hear from town to town or village to village to send messages. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make our own cajon or different drum instruments that we could use to make our own music. So what we're going to do is, if you look over here, there are all of these supplies that we have brought, different boxes, and so the first thing we'll need to do is make a hole in it, right, so to let out the sound. And then for each of these, we're going to personalize them and decorate them. So that's the part where the art comes in. We have paint, we have construction paper, tape, paint brushes. We have some scissors here. So there's a lot that you can do with it. So what we want to paint on there is something that is inspirational, something that can guide you, something that could be, you know, it's your drum, it's your sound, it's your voice. And that will help you to remember to always have that, to use your expression and use that strength and that power that you have as we play that drum. So you can, as you eat, we can start thinking about what's something you might want to paint or draw or write on there. It could be an image, it could be some words, it could be a combination. So this is our chance to really get creative and create. So the drum can tell a story. Like, I don't know how to play it.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had done
So Eddie's going to lead us in just experimenting with the sounds of our drums that we have. And then Valerie's going to teach us a song. And then we'll see how we can maybe put that together.
Alright guys, let's just practice hitting our drums. Let's see if we can make this, try to match my rhythm. So I should just have this side. We're going to have you guys do this rhythm. That's awesome, guys.
song that we're learning today is about unity, and just how we have these drums and now we're united in music, we could also unite in this song that's about unity. So when we are united, we are stronger because we're standing side by side together, protecting one another, supporting one another. Just how today when we did our skits, we were supporting one another. So that's what the song's about too. When we're united, we're stronger, we protect one another, we support one another, we don't backbite, we don't criticize. We're all about supporting each other and standing together. So that's what this song's about. And I wrote the lyrics on the whiteboard over there. Just so you guys have an idea of how the song goes, I'll sing it right now. And really try and listen so we can all sing it together after I sing it. It goes. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch.
We're going to be like the fruits all on one tree as we're singing this. Okay, and then the leaves of one branch, so that one is also when you look at a branch that has all these leaves on it. When we're united, it's like if we were all one branch and all these leaves are on it, but we're still part of the same branch. And that branch is stronger. That's what we're asking for as you're saying that. Be united. Help us so that we can be united, because it's not as easy as it sounds. Okay.
Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Good job. Okay, so now for the next 4 lines, I'll sing it and then you guys will repeat it. It goes, Oh God, teach us thy oneness.
Oh God, teach us thy oneness.
And give us the realization of thy unity.
And give us the realization of thy unity.
That we may seek no one save thee.
That we may seek no one save thee.
Thou art the merciful and the giver of bounty.
Thou art the merciful and the giver of bounty.
Do you guys want to try singing it all together now? Yeah? Okay. Yeah? Oh, let's sing it first and then we can play with the beat. Okay. Oh God,
Teach us thy oneness, and give us the realization of thy unity, that we may see no one save thee. Thou art the merciful and the giver of bounty.
Good job, guys. You guys really picked it up. So now, do you guys want to sing the whole song and throw in the drums?
Yeah.
So one way we could do it is after we say branch, tap twice. So let's try it that way first.
Ye are the fruits of
One tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Oh God, teach us thy oneness, and give us the realization of thy unity, that we may see no one save thee. Thou art the merciful and the giver of bounty. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. Ye are the fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch.
Everyone, now go crazy with your drums for one last time. happened today and learned about what were your thoughts about it, how you feel, and what you want to do because of it. Do you feel this different from when you got here? How are you leaving? How are you exiting today?
Yeah.
More?
Happy.
Yay! Feel happy?
Yes.
Oh. Have anyone else have their feelings that they feel
Confident.
confident? Nice.
More courageous.
Courageous. Awesome. Those are all really good. Yes.
Strong.
Strong. I like that. Encouraged? Yeah. Bring back the drums.
Big sounds, right?
This way. I keep up. We're gonna sing it. No, we're gonna be singing it, but I'm not.
They're
I don't know this song. What is this?
always full of energy. Drummers always full of energy, yeah.
I don't know.
Not bad. We'll be surprised. Probably not very good. Some sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird one like that.